Hey guys, so this week I was updating my work history. I know a lot of musicians don't actually update their work history, but you never know when you need it. I came across the first time I walked into a studio and asked for a flute job. I'm not going to reveal the specific store that I worked in, but there is a big chain of music stores in Canada called McQuade. Whether you are from the West Coast or the East Coast or in the middle, you've probably heard of McQuade. I wasn't actually an employee though. When you teach in a studio, you're actually never an employee. You are what's called an independent contractor. So you are actually your own boss, and you do a split between the owner and yourself of the tuition fees that you guys charge. So obviously, some places pay you better than others. At the time, I had just started my second year of university. I knew I was still very young and very inexperienced. But even at that time, I was very aware that I wanted to start my career as early as possible, and why not try and start it while I'm still in school. On my 19th birthday, I was on my way home from school. I was just sort of in your typical jeans and like random t-shirt and jacket and a big old backpack with all my textbooks, binders. My flute was in there as well, and all my music. I looked very much like your typical college kid. I thought to myself, what better present to myself as a 19-year-old, because in Canada, 19 is the legal drinking age. So it was a very big birthday for me, and I wanted to feel like an adult. I'm on my way home, I get off the bus, and I pass by a McQuade shop, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if they have a flute teaching position open for me. I'm just going to be honest here. I was a little scared, so I called my mom and I was like, I'm about to waltz into this shop and ask for a flute teaching position. Am I stupid? Of course, my mom said, no, you're not stupid. You should try because it doesn't hurt to try. So I waltzed in. I will admit that I did not feel in the least ready for this. I still felt very much like a kid inside. I just put on my game face and I just made myself act as much of an adult as I could. And I asked for the manager. I just introduced myself and said, hi, my name is Joanna. I am a second year flute performance major at UBC, and I am wondering if you guys have a flute teaching position open. And of course, this manager, I am so certain he could see the kid that I really was. But I just stood my ground. Basically, my eyes are saying, yo, dude, give me a job. It was a very rushed process, and he gave me his email and told me to email my resume to him as soon as possible. I went home, did up my resume. I think it took a couple of hours. He called me in for an interview 3 days later because, yes, even as an independent contractor, you do still have to be interviewed. I had never been interviewed in my life before that. I was one of those kids who just studied in high school, and I did not ever have any sort of experience with job applications and interviews and stuff like that. This was my first one at 19 years old, and I remember not knowing really what to do because the only types of interviews I had ever done were auditions. So he asked me a bunch of questions. I honestly was so nervous that I don't even remember what he asked me. It was just a blur. He must have asked me things about how long I had been playing the flute. I think he probably asked me what I do in school, what I'm studying, who I'm studying with. Then he just asked me to play something on the flute, and I didn't have anything memorized. I brought this ripped up guy in, selected flute solos. You can tell how long I've had this thing. I believe I played the Hungarian Passion Fantasy by Albert Franz Dobler. Even then, as it is now, it is my favorite showpiece. You guys are probably gonna want to hear me play a little bit of this. Alright, I'll indulge you. My flute has come back from the shop, healed up, no more dents. It feels so good. Courtney did an amazing job on my flute. I am so pleased. She is amazing. If you are in the Seattle area, please look up the Fluteworks Seattle folks. All three of them are amazing. Let's see. am recalling more of that interview now. I remember when I first got this guy, I was not used to the open holes, so I still had the plugs in. Right, because not only did I waltz into this store and ask for a job on my 19th birthday, my flute actually arrived on my 19th birthday as well. It was quite the birthday. Of course, I was hoping that he wouldn't notice it, but he noticed it and he asked me about it. I had to be really honest and tell him that my previous flute was a closed hole, so I am simply getting used to the open holes. I really hoped that wouldn't reflect badly on me. A lot of times in the flute world, having plugs in your flute, it's seen as you being a lesser flutist, when in fact it has nothing to do with that. The flute was not designed for small hands. It is actually fairly difficult for us who have small hands to kind of keep your hands stretched. There should not actually be any shame in using plugs. I remember the look on his face was kind of like... But in any case, because there were no other flute teachers in the studio, I got the job. And that ended up becoming my consistent job through my undergraduate degree. I ended up growing my studio so that I could teach all day Saturday, which is fantastic when you're a student because you just don't have time really during the week to teach because you're in rehearsal or you're writing papers, doing your readings and stuff like that. So anyway, there you go. I just wanted to share my first experience getting a studio teaching job. For any experience that is your first, it's going to feel exactly how I described it to you. It's going to be scary. You're not going to feel like you have anything figured out. You're going to feel like a kid pretending to be an adult. You just have to ride the wave. It's okay to feel all of those things and it's totally normal. Everyone feels it, though maybe not everyone admits it. You're just not alone. I've been there. If you guys have similar experiences, I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. Whatever type of studio environment you teach in, please let everyone know how it works. What was your interview process like? What was your application process like? I think it would be great for us to share those stories so that you youngins who are watching this, who are wondering how it works, so that you guys can learn from both our successes and our failures. Let's get talking. And as usual, if you guys like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and hit subscribe for new videos every Saturday. My last video is over there, and if you guys want to catch me during the week, my social media network stuffs are down there. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Bye. I was on my way home from school and I had my flute in me. No, in me. Oh.